Hi everyone, my name is Carrie Pratt. I'm a teacher here at Sangha Studio, and welcome to Mellow Morning Flow. So we'll get started in a comfortable seat. You can sit in cross-leg, or maybe you want to sit up on your shins, or maybe choose another pose that feels right for you. Take a couple of breaths to shift around, and then arrive here in a comfortable seat. You can allow the eyes to close if that feels good, and then just start to come into the breath. And taking inhales and exhales just naturally here. And if you're having trouble sort of focusing on the breath, maybe with each inhale you can allow the awareness to come a little bit closer in towards the breath. And then as you exhale, you can allow any thoughts to float away like they were on a cloud. As we start our morning here together, if there's a particular intention that you might like to set, a word or phrase that comes to mind, maybe you can call that to mind now. And we'll start our practice by taking one breath together, so you can exhale out all your air. Take a nice deep inhale, and then let it out on the exhale. We can blink our eyes open and then make our way over into our tabletop pose. And so allowing our shoulders to stack over our wrists and our hips to stack over our knees. You can take a couple of breaths of taking circles here, shifting hips forward and back. And then switching directions. And then as we're ready, we can settle into center here. We'll drop the belly and lift the gaze and come into a couple of rounds of cat and cow. As we draw the belly in, arch through the back to come to our cat pose. And then drop the belly down, drop through the shoulders, and come into our cow pose. We'll take 2 more rounds of that. And then again, coming to settle in stillness here. On an inhale, we can take our right leg out behind us. Toes can come to the floor, pressing out through our heel, waking up the back of the leg here. And then on an inhale, we can lift the right leg so that it comes out as a long extension of the spine. And then drop the right foot over to the left side of the body. Shift the hips back just an inch or two. And then maybe take our gaze around towards that right foot, coming into a side bend here. Next time you naturally find an inhale, we can lift back up, firm up through the belly, and then come back to center. You can take a round of cat and cow between the 2 sides, dropping the belly, lifting the gaze, and then arching through the back. Again, we come back to center. We'll extend the left toes this time, allow them to find the floor, pressing back, welcoming that sensation in the back of the left leg. And then on an inhale, we can lift the leg, draw the belly strong, and then drop the leg over to the right side. Gaze can come down towards that foot as you sit into the side bend here. And on an inhale, we'll lift back up to center. And if there are any final movements that you'd like to take from your tabletop, you can feel free to take them now. And then as we're ready, we'll tuck the toes and then lift the hips up into our downward facing dog. So we can keep our knees really bent, our first down dog of the morning. Allowing the hip bones and the sit bones to lift up high towards the ceiling. And then maybe if it feels good, we can start to find a little bit of straightening through the knees as we arrive in our down dog. We can pedal through the feet here. Spreading nice and wide through the fingertips. And then as you're ready, we can settle into a stillness here in down dog, coming back to the breath. Maybe coming back to that intention that you set at the beginning of your practice. On our next inhale, we'll take little steps so that we come up to the top of the mat. We can keep our knees as bent as we need as we fold forward, releasing our head and neck. And then on an inhale, we'll slinky roll, just slowly coming all the way up to our mountain pose. Rolling the shoulders back, finding our mountain pose. And we'll take 3 breaths here. And as we're ready, we'll begin our sun salutation A. So on an inhale, we'll reach the arms up overhead. Exhale to fold. Inhale, we'll find our halfway lift. Upper body will lift so that it's parallel to the mat. Exhale to plant the hands, and we'll step back into our plank. Always taking an option of a half plank with our knees down if we'd like. And then eventually we'll all drop to the knees, and we'll lower down, knees, chest, chin, all the way down to the mat. Coming to find our little baby cobra here, rolling shoulder blades back, finding opening through the chest. We can exhale to lower down, tuck the toes, lift back up into our tabletop, and then again, shift the hips nice and high, coming back to downward facing dog. Next time we find an inhale, we'll take little steps, or maybe you're ready for a hop or a jump. Feet towards hands. Exhaling to fold, head can become heavy. And then on an inhale, we take a big sweeping inhale all the way back up, arriving in our mountain pose. Again, on your inhale, we start sun salutation A again. Inhale to reach, exhale to fold. Inhale for our halfway lift up parallel to the mat. And then we'll exhale to plant the hands. Again, we step back to our plank. We can lower knees, chest, chin, or if chaturanga is a part of your practice and you're ready for that this morning, you can lower in chaturanga and then lift our way up into our back bend. Shoulders away from ears. Exhale to lower. And then making our way back to downward facing dog through tabletop, maybe through child's pose, and coming to our downward facing dog. As we continue to invite a little bit more heat into the body, we can notice the breath, notice the heart rate here. And then on an inhale, we'll take little steps again so that our feet come to meet our hands. And this time we'll stay in our forward fold, finding softness in the knees and allowing our belly to rest. Back of the neck can become long here as we fold forward. And if your hands don't quite reach the floor, we could always take our hands to our shins. Maybe we want to cross the elbow or grab opposite elbows here as we release into our forward fold. And we'll take 2 more breaths here in forward fold. We can release the clasp of the hands, and on an inhale, we'll slowly roll all the way back up to our mountain pose, rolling shoulder blades back as we arrive. On an inhale, we'll reach the arms up. We can grab our left wrist with our right hand, reaching up, and then leaning over to the right side. Maybe our gaze comes up underneath our left tricep, and finding our breath here. And then on an inhale, we'll reach back up through center, switching the clasp of the hands, and then leaning over towards the left. Trying to stay rooted and grounded through both feet here. And then on an inhale, we'll grow back up towards extended mountain, and we can extend to fold forward. Inhale for our halfway lift, rolling shoulders back. And then taking our choice of flowing through a vinyasa or stepping right back into our downward facing dog. And if we'd like a little bit more heat and energy, maybe we flow through that vinyasa. Or maybe we want to step right back into down dog here. On an inhale, we'll lift our right leg high to come to our 3-legged dog. So continuing to wake up through the back of the left leg here. Let's be powerful and engaged through the back of our right leg, maybe powering out through our heel. Nice strong stance here. And then on an inhale, we can bring our right foot up towards our hand. We can always help it to get all the way up there. And then we'll come to find our crescent warrior. So on an inhale, we'll lift up. Back heel can stay lifted. Right knee is deeply bent. And we arrive in our crescent lunge. We'll take one more inhale here. And then we'll exhale to lower our way down into a low lunge. We can keep our hands where they are, or maybe we'd like to rest them on our knee. And then we'll all take our hands down to either side of our front foot and shift the hips back to come into our half split here. So maybe we can draw that right heel back just the tiniest bit as we sit into that hamstring stretch. And finding the breath here. And on an inhale, we can bend through the front knee and walk back into our low lunge. And then we'll tuck the back toes and come into our revolved lunge. So left hand can place on the mat and right arm can reach up towards the ceiling. Always an option to keep that back knee down. Staying strong through the back left leg. And noticing the space in the spine where we feel the twist. So if we're feeling it only in our neck, maybe we can back off with our neck and think about finding that twist a little bit more in the spine. And one more inhale here. And we'll exhale to bring our hands to either side of the front foot. And then on an inhale, we lift all the way back up to our crescent lunge. Exhale to arrive. And then we'll exhale to plant the hands either side of the front foot. And then again, taking our choice, lifting up into our downward facing dog, or coming through our vinyasa here, tucking our elbows in at our sides. And making our way back to down dog. As we pause here between the two sides of the body, we can always drop down into our child's pose, taking our knees nice and wide, allowing our forehead to rest on the mat. Making your way back to your downward facing dog. If you've chosen another resting pose here. And on an inhale, we'll lift the left leg and come into that three-legged dog, flexing out through the left foot, powerful, all the way down the muscles of the back of the leg. On our next inhale, we'll walk that left foot up. Again, we can always help it with our hand if we need to. And we'll set up for that crescent lunge. On an inhale, we can reach the arms up, biceps by the ears. And arrive in our crescent warrior. Our powerful warrior pose here. We can notice the parts of the body that need to be strong and engaged, like the legs. But where can we relax? Can we relax the shoulders? Can we relax the muscles of the face, the fingers? We'll take one more inhale here. And then we'll exhale to come down, back knee drops, and bringing ourselves into our low lunge. Again, option to keep the arms up, or we can drop them down to our knee if we'd like. Coming back to the breath. We'll drop the hands to either side of the front foot and then sit the hips back, coming into our half split on this side. Maybe we can draw that left heel back just the tiniest bit. Welcoming the intensity and the stretch in the back of the leg, resisting the urge to judge whether you're doing it right or wrong, good or bad, and just letting it be. On an inhale, we'll bring ourselves forward again, back to our low lunge. And this time we'll plant the right hand. We can tuck the back toes or leave the back knee down. Then we'll come into our revolved lunge on the other side. Again, checking in with the twist, backing off from the neck if that feels best. One more inhale allows us to expand here. And then on an exhale, we bring both hands down to either side of the front foot. Nice big inhale to reach us all the way back up to our crescent lunge. We take one more inhale. And then we exhale, hands come to either side of the front foot. And again, taking one final vinyasa or choosing to step back to down dog. Making our way to down dog here. And this will be our final down dog of our practice here. So lifting those sit bones nice and high, extending through the spine, finding space between all of the vertebrae here. And then as we're ready, we can lower down onto our shins and then shift our way onto our seat. Bring the bottoms of our feet together. Coming into our Baddha Konasana, or butterfly pose, we can sit up nice and tall. And then if we're ready, we can fold forward. Maybe the back of the neck releases as we fold into ourself here. And coming back to the breath. Maybe coming back to the intention, the reason for attending class today. And allowing the breath to slow. And on an inhale, we can lift our way back up. And then we'll draw the knees in together. We can draw them in with our hands. And then we'll just slowly lower all the way down onto the mat. If we want to draw a little bit of strength into the belly, we can lower down slowly here. Or if you'd prefer just to rock back, that's always a great option. If you're rolling down slowly, try to breathe. And then we arrive laying down on our mat here. And we'll come to find our supine pigeon. So we'll cross our right ankle over our left knee. And we can stay right here. Or if we'd like, maybe we lift up the left foot and reach the knee in towards the chest, coming to deepen our supine pigeon pose. Feeling that opening in the hip. Maybe the right knee can open a little bit more out towards the front of the room. And we'll take one more inhale here. And then on our exhale, we'll plant down the left foot, keeping our right ankle hooked over the knee. We'll press up into our single leg bridge. So continuing to open up through the hip here, finding even a little bit more release through the hip, pressing into the foot and lifting up into our bridge pose here. Strengthening through the glutes, the hamstring as we lift high. And we'll take one more inhale. Maybe we expand a little bit more. And we exhale to drop the hips down. And we'll come to find our supine twist here. So we can press into the left foot and shift the hips over a little bit more towards the right. And then we'll drop the knees down towards the left side. Maybe we can take our gaze towards the right. Starting to slow down our mellow morning flow. And allowing the breath to be slightly deeper. And then on an inhale, we'll come back through center, taking it nice and slow. We can uncross that right ankle. We just take a breath and allow the hips to shift side to side. And then we'll cross the left ankle over the right knee, and we'll come into our supine pigeon on the other side. Maybe we take the same variation on this side that we took on the other side, or maybe we feel slightly different on this side. And we just listen to the body, welcome that sensation, and find a pose that feels good for us today. And from here, we'll release that right foot down if we've chosen to lift it up, and we'll come into our single leg bridge here, lifting the hips, finding a little bit more opening through that left hip. Can we draw strength in the lower back to lift us even just a little bit higher? And then on our exhale, we'll lower down. And again, keeping the hook of the ankle over the knee, we'll lift up, shifting the hips a little more towards the left side. And then dropping the knees down, coming to find our supine twist on the other side. And an inhale, we'll come back through center. You can gently start to unwind here. Take one final pose, drawing our knees in towards our chest and towards our armpits, coming to find our happy baby, maybe holding on to the shins or the feet. And allowing the spine to neutralize here. And then making our way into our final resting pose. You can feel free to grab a pair of socks or a sweatshirt and allow both the arms and legs to extend as we come into our final rest. And you can stay here as long as you'd like, allowing the efforts of your practice to soak into the body and allowing your breath to be slow and steady.